Okay. Welcome to the University of Southern Indiana. We're thrilled that you've chosen USI for your students' education. We take great responsibility in serving your student and we're partnering with parents to help you be successful. My name's Carmen Stone. I'm the Director of Student Development Programs, and we have John Race also with us from Student Development. We're the behind the scenes person here for all of this program. So tonight we're going to talk about how USI cares for students. This is our first topic in a series of topics we're presenting on Thursday nights to help students and parents learn more about USI and have an opportunity to get your questions answered. We ask that you keep yourself muted during the presentation. We ask that you put your questions in the chat feature at the bottom of your page. We're going to do questions at the end for the panel, but if you think of it in the middle of it, please put those in there. We'll keep track of those as we go on. To get us started, I'd like to introduce the staff that's with us tonight. So first, Dr. Jennifer Hammett, Dean of Students. Steve Baquette, Director of Public Safety. Dr. Tom Longwell, Director of the Counseling Center. Carrie Lynn, Title IX Coordinator. Sean Roby from Student Financial Success Specialist. Emily Henson, our bursar. Brandy Sitzman, Practice Manager for University Health Center. Jason Anesto, he's one of our amigos, which is an orientation leader and one of our current students. We also have Bridget Eckler, who's also an amigo and an orientation leader, and Marina Blackwell as well, some students here. So if you have questions from a student's point of view, please ask those as well. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hammett.
Good evening. Thank y'all so much for being here. I just wanted to say, because there are storms in the area, we may have disruption. You may have trouble hearing us. Hopefully the recording will capture that better than what you're hearing it now. So if you need to go back and forward through the presentation, you'll be able to do that. All right, I'm gonna let my co-presenters nod and let me know that that's showing the right thing. All right, super. One of the things that I would say we try to do here at USI is make sure that we look at the entire development of the student. When we talk about USI caring, we look at all the aspects that are encompassed in kind of the wellness model, emotional, environmental, financial, occupational, physical, social, spiritual. And so you're going to see reference to many of those things throughout the presentation. As the Dean of Students, what our office is here to do for you is make sure that you can succeed at the university. First and foremost, we advocate for you. If we're in meetings, we have to say, is this going to benefit students? How are students going to navigate this? We want to make sure that you're not only academically successful, but that you also find ways to connect socially. And perhaps this fall, that's more important now than ever, given some of the challenges related to the virus. We also want to provide assistance with administrative processes. Universities are big and complex and often have multiple steps to get things done. So if you're not sure how to get something done, we want to make sure that we can help you with those processes. One of the things that is run out of the Dean of Students office is the care team. This is a cross-campus group that comes together. As you can see here, we have representatives from all across campus who come together. One of the things that we are looking for is looking for students who are struggling or having issues before it becomes a problem. So maybe you're having difficulty in the class. Maybe your student is struggling with that 9 a.m. class and the faculty notifies us after 2 classes that they haven't seen your student. It could be homesickness. It could be a roommate difficulty. It could be that relationship they've been in from high school has come to an end and they're not really sure how to process all the things that they're feeling. We see a wide variety of things that come into the care team through a care report. And while we encourage faculty to fill those out, they're not required to fill those out. So as a parent, one of the things I would say to you is if you find that your student is struggling with something and you're not sure where to go, you can always call our office and kind of walk us through what you perceive the problems are, and then we can do an outreach to your student as well. We do have the director of the counseling center here. Tom, I'm going to let you talk for these couple of slides, and then I'll take it back when we get past those slides, okay?
Great, happy to. So we know that students, even outside this time of social distancing, can struggle during hard times. And we want to be here to support you and support your students during those hard times. So students come into the Counseling Center for a variety of different reasons. Whether it's just the transitioning from high school to college, all the way to students struggling with anxiety, depression, substance use concerns, even thoughts of self-harm or suicide. We want to make sure that you and your student have a place to go whenever our students are struggling. A couple of things I always like to share about the Counseling Center is, first off, when students come in to see us, all of our services are confidential. And the reason we have this is because when a student is struggling, they need to know that what they share with a counselor, and all of our counselors are professionally trained and licensed, and they need to know that when they are working with a counselor, that what they share stays there. Sometimes when a student is struggling with very deep personal matters, we want to make sure that they know someone is there on their side no matter what, and they need to know it's not going anywhere. Also, to let you know, it doesn't cost your student any additional funds to access our services, and your students are able to access our services for 12 sessions per academic year. Now, our services are geared toward your students, but we also have a special service that's geared towards you as family and friends as well. And the reason we have this is it's hard when we struggle. But I think the thing that's harder is when our loved ones struggle, because along with seeing their pain and seeing their struggles, it can sometimes come with a sense of helplessness of, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help this person I love and care about. So if your student is struggling and you believe it's related to some mental health concerns and you just don't know what to do, or if your student's just distraught and you're just looking for a path, a direction, please do contact me. Again, my name is Tom Longwell. I'm director of the Counseling Center. If I'm not available, one of my clinicians will be what we call on call and can speak to you as well. At the end, we list all of our contact information. I'll encourage you to call us, call me, and we'll discuss what's going on for your student. We'll discuss what are some things that we could do in the Counseling Center, what are some things that the university can do. We might remind you about that care team and how to access that, and talk about all the wonderful resources available to your student. Let me talk about the next slide here as well. As Dr. Hammond mentioned, we're very concerned about the overall wellness of your students. And one of these areas that we like to talk about in addition to emotional wellness is physical wellness. So we have a fantastic university health center. They're located in the lower level of our health professions building. And with our health center, if your student lives on campus, they can access the University Health Center through this, what's called this office visit plan. And you can actually even purchase this office visit plan if your student is going to be living off campus or commute from home as well. It's around $70. I'm not exactly sure the exact amount, but it's right around there per semester. And that entitles your student to unlimited visits at the health center. We have fully qualified doctors and nurses who are actually been affiliated with our Deaconess Health Center. And if your student currently sees a Deaconess provider, the health center will actually already have copies of your student's records on file. In addition to seeing doctors and nurses, they also do have a limited pharmacy service available. So if your student is needing medications for, let's say, antibiotics, and this will save them from having to go out to Walmart or any of the pharmacies nearby, and we sell those right at cost as well. So that's definitely not making money for us. It's right at cost because we want to make sure that we're supporting your students. To make an appointment. Oh, sure. Okay.
Sorry. We've got questions at the end. Brandy will be able to talk about those. I forgot Brandy was on our call, so we'll keep moving along.
Great.
One of the things that I will say is that we do provide your students with some education and prevention programs on campus as well. Your students will receive invites for alcohol and drug education, as well as sexual assault and gender violence prevention training. Typically, we send those out at the end of July, beginning of August, but because new regulations have gone into effect, our provider has told us to anticipate that will go right up to the wire. So your student will either get those right before they come to campus, or perhaps once they get to campus. Once we have an update from the provider about a different kind of training, we'll probably send them together so they're not looking for two different emails. So I did want you to know they will be required to take 2 different online trainings. Related to that, as I mentioned, there are new regulations in place. Our Title IX coordinator waved at you earlier. Carrie Lynn is our Title IX coordinator. You probably have had some kind of Title IX training in high school, perhaps at previous schools. So that online training you'll be taking will cover all the different components of the new regulations, as well as these definitions, and why we work towards prevention every day, and how you can be an upstander, someone who steps in if they see something that they feel like someone is experiencing something and has a concerning situation. So that will be included in the training. You will need to get that taken before it's time to register for spring classes, or there will be a hold on your account. So if you have questions about that, we'll take those at the end as well. This is our webpage for the reporting structure. You can click on the button. One of the things that you will find with the care team, the financial care team, reporting Title IX instances, we've all made it very easy for you to go to a website and click on that. Parents, certainly one of the things I'll tell you is students often will confide in each other before they will confide in parents. However, if your student tells you that something has happened to one of their friends, one of their roommates, again, you can always notify us of any information you might have so that we can reach out to them to see if they need support from the institution. We find in regular surveys that students rely on either family or their friends oftentimes to share if they've heard something that someone might be experiencing. We do have, I like to call this the double whammy slide. In addition to our public safety office, we also have Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office available on campus. The public safety folks are here 24/7. They are first responders, and that means they're EMTB certified. They will also jump your car if the battery dies, or unlock the car, or help you with airing up the tires. If you are walking home from the library to your residence hall and that feels like too far to walk at night, they will provide you with an escort back to your residence. One of the things I'll tell you that Steve wouldn't tell you, Steve and his number 2 guy have been in law enforcement a long time, because they were in law enforcement as wee children. But the result of that is they have a lot of really great relationships with law enforcement in town. And that connection, that ability to provide campus and community connection from our law enforcement is really helpful. If you have not heard of the Rave Guardian system, we would encourage you to put that application on your phone. Any kind of timely alert that comes out, you'll receive that on the application. In addition to that, if you're walking back and you don't want to call for an escort, but you want to make sure that your best friend knows that you've left the library and you're walking back to Governor's, you can actually set a timer, and it'll let them know that you're walking back from the library, so they can check on you if they haven't heard from you in the 8 or 10 minutes it might take you to get there. Our public safety office also manages our lost and found. This slide seems particularly important this week. We have a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion at the University of Southern Indiana. The Multicultural Center is located in the University Center East. They do a great deal of programming on diversity and inclusion on the campus. We also have executive diversity scholars out of there. These are just some of the groups and some of the activities that are happening. I would encourage you to make sure, I like to recommend students join 3 groups, a group of something they've done before, something they've never tried before, and something that stretches them, right? So if they haven't had a multicultural experience before, if they haven't salsa danced and they want to join the salsa club, I'd really encourage them to look for ways to connect with other students. I am going to pause here and ask if our students would like to talk about kind of their perspective on that real quick.
Do you want me to go, Jason?
I didn't know who wanted to go. I'm sorry, I can't see everybody right here, so I apologize, everybody. But yeah, go ahead, Bridget.
Okay, so when I started at USI, I was really looking for somewhere to get involved, and I went to our student development fair, which is normally like the first week of school, and all of the clubs and organizations table out in the quad, and we're able to go through and see all the different clubs that USI has to offer. And I actually found out there was a organization related to my major, and I joined that, and like joining as a freshman in that club really like gave me a head start to get into leadership opportunities and get involved with that.
I had a little bit of a similar experience. I was that one freshman that came in thinking they were going to conquer the world, and so I joined every organization that I possibly could. I was writing for the newspaper. I was a part of some athletic programs. I did intramural sports, and then I also joined fraternity and sorority life and a variety of other areas. But eventually I got to the point where I realized I needed to focus on one or two things, because you also want to remind your students, while it's great to be involved, not to overload their plates. They want to make sure that they're staying healthy, both mentally and physically. But being involved on campus is a great way to not only create relationships with other students, but it's also a way for them to learn more about themselves and to kind of get an idea of where they're wanting to go in life.
Thanks, Jason. Okay. My favorite topic in the world, Family Educational Right and Privacy Act of 1972 guarantees that your children's educational records are theirs. What that means is that unlike in high school where you got alerts when they got a C or below on an exam, if the school would call and say, Jason's got a tummy ache, could you come get him? We don't do that at college. So there is a form you can fill out. Usually that is done so parents can get access to grades. There's a couple things I would say is that anything that can be considered an educational record is private and it's theirs. So if they call you and say, you know, something happened in the residence hall the other night, I was just walking by, I was documented, and now they say they're going to kick me out of school. First, that might not be the whole story. Second, we're not going to send that information home to you. So if you call and say, you can't kick my kid out, they're innocent, what I might say, because you would be calling the dean of students office in that situation, is that's interesting. That's different information from what I have. If you'd like for your student to share what was documented, then your student could sign a FERPA release, and then you and I can talk about the details. Otherwise, what I would say is, so here's how the conduct process works. Here's the range of possible outcomes. You mentioned that your child was walking by and somehow got pulled into this event. If that were the case, these are the kinds of outcomes they might look at. For more serious offenses, it might include something different. You can have your student fill out a form at the registrar's office once they get here. Usually that's in order to make sure that we can have some academic access. If your student is struggling in a class, I really, really, really strongly encourage you to have them reach out to the faculty member. If they're having difficulty with the faculty member, our office can intervene and see if we can't navigate communication. But they really need to be the first step in this. But we do mention this is one way that you can help your student advocate for themselves. It's a valuable skill, and we want to make sure that they know how to do that by the time they get out of here. I mentioned the care team earlier. We also have a separate care team related to finances. Emily, since I haven't seen a whole lot of these slides, I'm going to, again, relinquish the microphone and let you talk about this. And if you'll just say slide, I will be your muse.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is Emily. I'm the bursar here at the University of Southern Indiana, and I'm part of the financial care team. And then I also have Dr. Sean Roby here on the call, and he's going to introduce himself as well.
Yes, I'm Dr. Sean Roby. I lead the Student Financial Success Center. And Emily and I, as she stated, are financial care team case managers. The goal of the financial care team is to assist students who find themselves in unexpected financial distress. Some students might have exhausted their financial aid, but still have an outstanding balance. Others might not be receiving the amount of family support they expected for various reasons. Some families might have experienced loss of employment, the birth of a child, divorce, a serious medical issue, or even death that changed their financial situation unexpectedly. The team thoroughly assesses each situation and directs appropriate outreach efforts to the student, such as assistance with payment options, employment opportunities, housing, personal budgeting skills, or financial resources. The financial care team has completed its first academic year. Most of the cases we received were due to lack or loss of financial aid and lack of family support, which resulted in a student account balance. Oftentimes, as we met with students, we would discover other underlying issues. Students could have multiple issues, but they all had commonalities. They were struggling financially and did not know where to turn. Emily will discuss the financial care team representatives on this slide.
So the financial care team is comprised of representatives from each of these offices: the Bursar's office, Career Services and Internships, Dean of Students, Student Financial Success Center, the Foundation, Housing and Residence Life, Student Financial Assistance Office, Sodexo, which is our food service provider on campus, and the Provost office. Together, these teams they meet and they review the students' cases, and we try to provide the students the resources they need. I want to make a quick note here that the financial care team is a supplemental process to processes that are already in place. So if students still have questions about their financial aid eligibility or verification, they need to contact the Student Financial Assistance Office. Or students who need to enroll in a payment plan or have questions about their bill, they should still contact the Bursar's office. So the financial care team, they help students who have a gap in their financial eligibility and account balance and are just looking for alternatives. And the financial care team is more about helping the student find a solution rather than a quick fix.
So to request assistance on behalf of your student, go to the financial care team page and complete the referral form. A representative from the Student Financial Success Center will contact your student to schedule a virtual financial care team intake meeting. During this meeting, a Student Financial Success Center representative will gather more information to better understand their situation, which will better inform university outreach efforts. Lastly, the financial care team relies heavily on referrals from parents, students, advisors, faculty, and staff. Students might think they have exhausted all their options. Maybe they have, but rather than struggle alone, the financial care team offers students an outlet to seek needed resources, explore options, and make informed decisions.
Next slide. So here's our contact information. The website to make a referral is www.usi.edu/financial care team. And we also have the Student Financial Success Center contact information on this slide if you would like to ask any questions about the financial care team.
Thanks, you guys. The last slide here for parents, this is a good one to grab your phone and take a quick picture of. These are phone numbers and email contacts for us where you can get a hold of us. If you have questions for us that we don't get to tonight, if you have details you want us to know about and we don't get there, then you can certainly email that or call us and we will get back to you on that. Carmen, it's up.
Okay, so that was a brief introduction to all of those different services we provide and how we care for your students while they're on campus. We'd love to hear your questions. So if you want to go down to that chat function and type in your questions, we'll start answering those. We've set aside at least 30 minutes here for us to do that. So please start submitting your questions. I know one of the things that I hear asked at our traditional on-campus questions is a lot of times they ask our students what they feel or what their experience is with safety on campus and how they feel about that. So Jason or Bridget?
Sure. So I, for one, personally have felt very safe on USI's campus. There haven't been many instances in which I haven't felt or in which I felt there was a threat to me in any way, shape, or form. I walk home. Whenever I lived on the on-campus apartments, I would walk from the library to where we have our apartments at, or even to my vehicle or something like that. And I've never not felt safe, and I always know my resources. We always have these blue emergency posts within a certain amount of feet of each other, to where if something were to happen and you were ever to get scared on your walk, or if there's just something going on and you're unsure, a little uneasy, you can always click one of those buttons and you'll have someone respond to you right away.
I agree. I have never felt unsafe at USI, and everyone at USI is so helpful too. Like if you need anything or like feel uncomfortable in any way, like you can just reach out to like someone walking by and be like, hey, can you walk with me this place, or where is this place? What's public safety's number? You know, someone always will be there to help you.
Okay. Jennifer, can you put back up that slide with all the contact information? Some of the parents want to retake a picture of that. In the meantime, Emily, can you talk a little bit about how FERPA plays in with billing processes?
Yeah, thank you. So with FERPA is the student's account balance, their account information is all protected by FERPA as well. And this is a really frustrating part for parents, especially if the parents are the one paying the bill. And so part of our usual orientation, we go through how a student can access their billing and payment information. And the student can create an authorized user, which gives you that ability to go in, view their statements, view their account balance, their account activity. You can get an itemized view of everything that their student is being charged, how much financial aid has been applied to their account. You can enroll in a payment plan, you can pay the balance. If you are receiving a Parent Plus loan, you can sign up for a direct deposit so you can receive your refund if you're eligible for a refund. So also, if you have questions about the student account, you need to be an authorized user through TouchNet. So we can have a more detailed conversation with you about the account. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to pay us, and we want to make it to where you can understand what you're paying for. So students can do that again through TouchNet. When they log into My USI, they're going to click on the TouchNet app, and on the right hand side of the screen it'll say create authorized users, and they'll be able to add you based off of your email address. You will have your own login and username and password. We also have a video tutorial on how to do this on our website at usi.edu/bursar, and you scroll down towards the bottom of the page and you click on authorized users, and that will have a video tutorial on how your student can do that. I would really encourage you to do that before the 1st of July, so that way whenever billing statements go out and payment plans are available, you can access that. Thank you, Carmen.
Yep. Okay. Brandy, can you talk a little bit about the office visit plan and how students utilize that?
I'm sorry, Carmen. I think you were talking to me. I think I didn't hear all of your question. Is it about the office visit plan?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. The office visit plan is a plan that covers basic. It is $70 per semester. Is added to the tuition bill. It is mandatory for not mandatory, but it is everybody who lives in housing, residence life, either apartments or dorms, are enrolled in the office visit plan. With the office visit plan, other students are also allowed to be in the office visit plan. We have a drop form and an add form on our website, which is www.usi.edu/health center. On that, you can find anything you need for the health center. We also take immunizations. Immunization forms are on there, more information about the office visit plan. But the office visit plan doesn't replace insurance, but what it does is ensure your student has access to quality health care while they're at USI. The office visit plan is $70 per semester. It includes one free physical per calendar year, unlimited office visits. The visit meaning when you walk in the door and you talk to a provider, that's a normal $123 bill. That is free for that student or at no cost. Your $70 paid for that. Also included in the office visit plan is a free flu shot per year. Also included are those point of care tests that are done inside the clinic. So for example, we do mono test, strep test, flu test, pregnancy test, and urinalysis. All those point of care tests can be defined as a test that is done, like the strep test. You swab their throat and you get the test immediately inside the clinic. Those labs, like we also do lab draws and different things, anything sent out to Deaconess Lab, that's where a cost is incurred by the student and not covered by the office visit plan. We also offer flu shot. I mean, any kind of, like if you need an allergy shot, as long as your allergy serum is sent to us, those are administered at no cost. And that's for anybody on the USI campus, which includes faculty and staff and students. We get a lot of those, and those appointments, you can make appointments through our Clockwise app, which is on our webpage also.
Okay. Steve, if hopefully you have a little bit better connection, can you talk a little bit about the relationship of the university with the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office? Steve's been having internet issues, so maybe he is frozen again.
He's just really thinking about it.
Yeah. Jennifer,
I would say let's come back to him.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to submit your questions, we would be happy to answer those questions. So we encourage you to, and if it doesn't have pertaining to the subjects we've talked about, but you have questions in general, please submit those as well. We have a broad representation here, and I think we could probably answer most of the questions that you may have while your student is here on campus. Maybe one of the students can talk a little bit about what's your relationship like with professors on campus? What's that student-professor relationship like?
I have such good relationships with my professors. Like coming in, like my program is a little bit smaller, so I have really good relationships because we only have a couple professors. So they all know me really well and care about me as a student and know my name and will say hi to me in the hallway. And there's some of my professors that have been really good references for me for jobs even. And I'm a double major, so I have relationships with my PR professors and also with my art professors, and they're very different, but both in good ways. And I know I can always count on them and go to them for anything, even if they're not my advisor. Like they're always willing to sit down and help with me and talk about my career goals.
So Emily, you may be able to answer this one. Who do they contact about scholarships if they have questions about scholarships on campus?
So students, the Award Spring application is the one application that students can fill out to apply for USI Foundation scholarships. A lot of our scholarships are admissions-based or foundation-based. So when you fill out your admissions application and you submit your SAT scores or ACT scores and your transcript, there's a rubric on what admissions or scholarships you'll receive based off of that. And then, like I said, Award Spring is another application that students can fill out. The Award Spring application is on the Students My USI So if you log in and in those Eagle apps, you're going to look for like the orange triangle. You have to fill out an award spring application every year. Usually they're due around October or November of every year. So the same time that you fill out your renewal FAFSA, you're going to be filling out your award spring application as well. Right now, a lot of scholarships have already been awarded. Typically by June, a lot of donors have already selected their candidates. Typically between October and December are the peak times to fill out your scholarship applications. Some still available in January. The Financial Aid Office has a list of scholarships that are available. They have links that you can go to find outside scholarships and national scholarships, local scholarships. Check your local organizations and local churches or other organizations that you're involved in. They typically do provide scholarships to students. Those are the most common places to look for scholarships.
Okay. Follow-up question, somewhat related. A parent is wondering, how would they figure out what the total cost is going to be for them for the year? Where can they find that information?
So the tuition for fall 2020 is posted on the Bursar's website at usi.edu/bursar. And if you click on tuition and fees, it does give you a breakdown of what the fees are. You can base it off of how many hours a student anticipates to enroll in for the fall semester. The Financial Aid Office does have a cost of attendance posted on their website as well. But I want to also let you know that the cost of attendance that the Financial Aid Office creates is not necessarily what you're going to be billed. They are including other costs because it does cost your students to continue to live. They have their living expenses, so they have food, toiletries, cooking requirements, transportation. Even though they're not really necessarily maybe driving to campus or whatnot, but they still have transportation costs, and it also includes the housing. So if your student's not living on campus, they're not going to be assessed those housing costs. But you can look at that. That's on the Student Financial Assistance Office, which is usi.edu/finaid, I think, and check that out. But if you have questions, I would encourage you to contact the Bursar's office, and we can help you figure out what fees you might be looking at, depending on if your student's online or on campus.
Tom, can you talk briefly about what other services the Counseling Center provides other than just direct counseling?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Carmen?
Yes. What other services does the Counseling Center provide other than direct counseling?
So yes, we provide lots of services besides direct counseling. We do provide lots of counseling as well. In addition to individual counseling, another great service we provide is group counseling as well, which is a wonderful support service for our students to really know that they are not alone. But in addition to direct counseling, we also do a lot of outreach programming for our students. So this includes meeting with various classes at the invitation of a professor to talk on topics like stress management, dealing with procrastination, whole lots of different topics. But we also do offer lots of regular workshops on campus. So we have a rotating workshop once a week. Currently it's on Thursdays at 6 during the academic year, I should say. And that rotates between the major topics of interest to students. So those rotate from like stress management is 1 week. A following week is knowing what's a healthy relationship versus not. And then the third week is just coping with life's challenges, or what we call our life's ups and downs. So those are some of the great services we provide. We also help sponsor speakers on campus and participate in lots of awareness events, trainings on knowing how to help a friend, how to get them support, resources, so forth and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Hammett, if a parent wanted to find out the crime statistics for campus, do you know where they would find that?
By golly, I do. Um, every year we're required to publish an annual safety and security report. That is a requirement to receive federal financial assistance. If you go to the public safety website, that is the annual safety and security report. As part of that report, there is also annual fire safety statistics. And one of the things that's important to know about the annual safety report is it will show you any of the designated crimes. It's not all crimes. It's a set of 12 crimes. And it's the most highest level crime that's published and counted. So if there's more than one crime, it's only going to count that top crime. And it's a hierarchy in terms of how they count it. That is for any property we lease, own, or control. And oftentimes parents will ask, so does that mean USI is safer than Ball State? You're really comparing apples and oranges because you have to look at the community within the campus is situated. So you're comparing city demographics to city demographics and then where the campuses are situated. So it is a good snapshot, but if you have a particular safety concern, if you're worried, one of the most common crimes that we see on college campuses is cars being broken into, vehicular theft, because students will leave a laptop or an iPhone or something else that's fancy. Earbuds sitting out in plain sight, and because where they grew up, we left all of our doors unlocked. They don't think about that, and so we'll see a lot of car thefts on college campuses. But if you have a specific question or concern about a crime, certainly public safety would be happy to talk about that. I also have 20 years prior experience doing that report, so it is one of the things that I geek out on. Thanks for that question, Carmen. It always makes me happy to talk about the Clery Act.
Yeah. Jennifer, I'm going to stay with you a minute. Steve is having internet problems, so he had to drop off. So could you talk a little bit about that relationship we have with Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office?
Yeah, sure. There are 3 different shifts. We are assigned a series of officers, so we are a separate precinct for patrol for Vanderburgh County Sheriff. One of the things that I would say is best about that relationship is we are assigned a slate of officers, so we know exactly who's on which shift, and we know exactly what that relationship looked like. I certainly like to give our sheriff's fellows a hard time just because it brings me joy. But they also know our students. And the thing that really works for our relationship is it's the community policing model. So you see them when you're sitting in the dining area having lunch because they're having lunch too. Even if they're the folks that maybe had to come out along with public safety for a noise violation or a large gathering or something like that, they still are very good to interact with our students, to check in with them and make sure if you have questions about, hey, listen, a friend of mine, something happened, do you know how is there any advice I can give them? The relationship is a long and storied one. One of the things that I will tell you is often our public safety folks have done such good work here. If they decide that they want to go into law enforcement, Steve trains them well enough here. It's a good training ground for them to actually eventually end up as part of the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Department as well. And because of the type of training they get, almost always, wherever possible, our public safety and the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Department will respond together as needed. So you do get that EMT first responder, but you also have a law enforcement official to respond when needed.
Okay. Jason, our student, I saw a lot of head shaking there. Is there something you'd like to add about our law enforcement on campus?
Oh no, I hate to sound a little bit unprofessional, but they're just like super cool. Like honestly, the sheriffs that we have on campus, like whenever she talks about the relationships that they have with students, they honestly they're there to make sure that we feel safe, and they do whatever it takes. If it's stopping at one of the tables whenever we're like hosting an event or something like that, or if it's just checking to make sure we're okay while we're eating lunch, or they joke around with you, but they also make sure that you know that they're there. And it's just it's an incredible relationship. Honestly, we're blessed to have them.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from the group? Let me make sure I haven't missed any questions in here. Dr. Hammett, do you want to talk just briefly about the precautions we're taking for the safety of our students this fall?
Sure. The first thing, I know John's going to do this while I'm talking, is I'm going to direct you to our COVID-19 webpage. The president has put together a task force. There are 4 committees working in that group, as well as probably at this point we're up to 12 different subcommittees. There's over 150 faculty, staff, and administrators working on what that looks like. We're looking at everything from operations and logistics, academic concerns, student affairs concerns, how we are providing you with orientation, how we're addressing Welcome Week, what dining options are going to be available, and how we address those in the fall. In addition to that, operations and logistics have already begun hanging plexiglass, that's easy to say, plexiglass partitions in front-facing offices. We're working on getting all of the necessary masks and gloves and cleaning supplies and all those kinds of things, as well as reducing classroom size. So if a classroom normally held 30 people, with physical distancing measures in place, that could take that classroom size down to 10 or 12. Large lecture hall size classrooms that normally could have accommodated 250. The last infomercial I saw on that was 42 could fit in that space. So we're reviewing all of that. I know a lot of folks are anxious to find out how many of their classes will be face-to-face and how many will be online. As soon as we have all of the information from faculty for those who will be needing special requirements to have their classes online, if they have any of those pre-existing health concerns, those classes might be online instead of face-to-face, but we are playing beat the clock on that. So I can assure you that the academic affairs group is working diligently to make sure that we can post that fall schedule. If you've already registered, you still have a schedule. Once we have the listing complete, we'll send something out so you can check that, so that if there is a class that is in an online format and that doesn't work for you and you want to contact your advisor to say, me and online classes, we're not such good friends, could I try to get a different class that's face-to-face? You'll be able to do that. There won't be any penalty for that. And we do intend to give you enough time that you can do that and still figure out books and all that kind of stuff. Quick enough overview, Carmen?
Yep, that's great. Marina, can you talk a little bit about the virtual tours that the university's been offering?
Yes. So through the admissions office, we've been offering some virtual tours. And basically what happens is you'll have a student ambassador. They are volunteer students at the university that have been trained on USI and contain a lot of USI knowledge, but also have a student perspective. And they'll walk you through the online format of the tour. So you'll just kind of go through some pictures, see some pictures of inside the building, around the building. And it's a really great tool to use if you haven't been on campus before, or if you just need a reminder of what kind of campus looks like.
So presenters, is there any last thoughts that you have that you want to present, or things that you hoped would be asked that you want to throw out there before we close up for the evening?
I'd be remiss if I didn't say, if you're still making a decision about housing, you have time. That prepayment isn't due until July 1st. If you're wondering if you should let your students stay on campus, the maximum occupancy we're going to allow on campus this semester is 85%. We'll have several buildings pulled aside so that if students need to self-quarantine or isolate, should they begin to feel symptomatic, that'll be available. Studies have been published for many a decade that show that students who live on campus have higher retention, higher GPAs, and are persistent to matriculate and graduate. So I know there's a lot going on right now, but we are working, we've got another 15-person committee that's looking just at how we do the move-in process and making sure that our students can be safe. So if you haven't made a decision on housing yet, that's okay. It's not too late. In addition to the different things that you've seen, certainly the orientation website has lots of other areas. So Don't feel pressured to make those decisions yet, and know that you've just got time. We're super glad you're coming.
Okay, I want to make a plug for a couple of things. One, we have an online orientation that we've asked our students to complete on the orientation website, but it's a great resource for parents as well. It covers a lot of the areas of campus that we would have talked about had we been in person. So I'd encourage you to go through that. As a parent, you can go through as a guest and get all the same information. It's a great resource. We're also providing more of these Zoom series pieces on different topics. Those are all listed on the website as well, so you can see what other virtual options there are. We really would encourage your students specifically, but you're welcome to participate too in our orientation Zoom meetings. Those are kind of scattered. We've got 5 more this summer, and gives an opportunity for the students to meet other new students. They meet with some of our amigos, current students, and get to know each other and ask questions on a peer-to-peer basis. And then we have some Q&A with parents. We also have an opportunity for you to meet with the academic deans and talk to the deans in the colleges. So those are great avenues if you want to be part of the orientation Zoom meeting. So I'd encourage you to participate in all those. The orientation series will be, after we get the recording done, we will post that online and make those available so that you can learn about other parts of campus and things in a more personal way, as personal as Zoom can be. With people from all over. So we'd encourage you to do that. Before we leave for the night, what I'd love to do is have you answer a quick poll for us, just to give us an idea about the session, if it assisted you in being better prepared for beginning classes at USI or for your student, just to give us some feedback on our programs, or send us information about feedback. So any final thoughts from the group? So let me launch the poll. It's the first time I've done this. So now you should see the poll. So really appreciate you coming this evening. After you complete the poll, you're welcome to go, and please send us your questions. If you don't know where to send them, just go to orientation@usi.edu and we will direct your question to the appropriate office. Okay. Thank you for completing the poll. Have a great night.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.